Hey everybody, welcome back to Pulse Comics. I'm Chris.
Hey, I'm Durante.
And we're back with our friend Dallas, and now we're going to discuss the Christopher Reeve Superman movie, the original Christopher Reeve Superman movie. So
The original superhero.
the superhero, Superman.
Superman.
Yeah.
Christopher Reeves.
The movie that really started it
Tights.
all.
That was all him underneath that. Like all of that was. I'm serious. It was.
Yeah.
They say he was like 150 before that.
I
Then
mean, he looked
trained,
pretty
and
ripped.
He bulked up to like 210.
Yeah.
All muscle.
That wasn't a muscle suit?
No, that was all him.
Oh, okay. That was like old school style, like
Yeah.
at the gym.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell because he was behind a lead planter, so I couldn't see.
So I mean, it's just. I think like even though it's been like that movie came out when, what was that, 70?
79, I think.
Jeez, it's like some of the effects actually still hold up.
I just watched it recently, and I really still enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
Well, that was when I look back, you accept things for what they are at the time when you're a kid and you're seeing things for the first time. But when I look back and we, talking about other, superheroes to screen, Superman, not only was it the greatest movie of its era.
Absolutely. Do you remember the hype and how excited we all were for it?
Absolutely.
Waiting in line for movie tickets.
Oh,
The
yes.
tagline was, see if I can remember this right, "You will believe a man can fly."
And that's what I'm getting to. Because that was the first time that special effects were able to catch up with the character. Like
Yeah.
when we watched Wonder Woman on television, that was just a glimmer of what she could do. Deflect bullets was
Right.
awesome,
Right.
but her strength was not really shown that as much as it was in the comics. But when you saw Superman in that first movie, you're like, what is happening? Like, he was as strong as he was supposed to
Right.
be.
Yep.
He could
Fast.
fly like
He
he's
was
supposed to
fast.
be. He looked like Superman. He acted like Superman. Everything was on point.
I think
for that
the
movie.
scene where the baby Superman lifts the truck up, I mean, you knew right then, all right, this is Superman.
Yep, it was amazing.
I think like even like as soon as the movie started and we're on Krypton and we see Marlon Brando as Jor-El. Number one, Marlon Brando back in the day, you people
mean,
Google it. Marlon Brando was
They're
like,
oh, they're not playing.
huge.
They're not
Huge.
playing.
And it looked, the aesthetics of Krypton looked so different. The costumes were so different. It was
Yeah.
like, wow. Again, they're not playing. They're really taking this
Right.
material seriously. And then from that to the iconic, John Williams theme. It's like you can't.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
still played today. Come on,
Yes, and I mean, let's not forget Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah.
amazing. I mean, probably the best supervillain to date.
Yeah.
I would not disagree with that a little
Well,
bit.
He's
I
one
could
of
make
the
the
top
argument.
five. One of the top five.
Yeah, I mean, I think for what it was, like how they were, like he was great, like the great portrayal of Lex Luthor. It was a little more comedic than I would have. Like if I were redoing it, I would probably tone that down a little bit. But for the era that it existed, like let's look at it in context. It was fantastic.
And it was fun.
Oh, and it was
Superman's
fun.
supposed to be fun. He's not
Yeah.
supposed to be dark and scary. That's Batman.
Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it did get like a little kind of dark towards the end with Lois Lane dying.
Yeah, sure.
I was like,
sure.
oh wow.
Okay, let's just put it out on the table. I just want to ask you guys: are y'all cool with him being able to turn time
No,
backwards?
no,
I mean, come on. Let's just. I mean, that's a big plot hole. But wasn't that so golden age?
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah.
That was the fun of it. Like, I mean, if it would be super campy, except that it was so emotional, and that
Right.
emotion, you saw it, and so you understand. Like, that's what, as a kid, that's what you wanted to happen.
okay.
You
That
did
is
feel
what
his
you wanted
grief.
to happen.
You did feel
Yeah.
his-
The thing with the character was, I think it was just a little bit of cheese put in, just a little bit,
Just enough.
Right. I would say cheese is one word for it, but it was wholesomeness.
There you
Okay,
go.
yeah, I'll give you that. Okay.
And that's okay. I mean, like I think cheese put into any sort of serious movie can have its place. But I think that when we look back on it, like there was a wholesome quality about Christopher Reeve Superman where you knew
Oh, absolutely.
you knew he was your friend.
He exuded
Plus,
goodness.
he was Clark Kent.
Yeah.
He was this sweet farm boy from Kansas. He really was.
Yeah.
And I loved him. And I loved Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. And she had that like cigarette whiskey voice. And she was just that perfect New York sexy.
Tough.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But yet
No
still
nonsense.
vulnerable. Hold on, now, here we go. Hold on. Favorite scene from the movie?
Oh, favorite scene from the movie. I really liked when Clark Kent shows up at the Daily Planet and tries to get to know Lois Lane, and she just completely blows him off. Love it every time.
Dallas, what about you?
Well, I've got two.
Go for it.
The classic, you've got me, who's got you?
Okay.
I mean, because that helicopter is like sliding off the building, and you're like, oh, what's going to happen? And she's falling, and it looks real. Like,
Yeah.
it looks real. And then there's when she's mouthing off to the bad guy, which of course is perfect Lois Lane, and he shoots and grabs the bullet.
Right.
If you look at the new Wonder Woman trailer, there's an homage
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that
it
where
is,
she
it is.
stops the bullet.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And so
Yeah, it
it's
is,
like-
yeah.
I mean, that goes to show you like how, really just on point and classic this movie is, that no matter how many Superman incarnations we've had since then, and some of them are really, really good, Christopher Reeve's portrayal is just the gold standard. I mean, we're going to have to update things and do things differently, but there will never be.
And he's always going to be Superman to me.
Oh yeah.
You know, one of my favorite scenes from the movie is, and it's going off of, it happens right after the scene you talked about, the helicopter and everything else, and Clark Kent's looking for a place to change and everything. He finds like a phone booth, and it's like a black pimp sitting outside in the car, and then he comes out in the full Superman outfit, and the pimp's like, "Hey man, that's a bad outfit." And then he flies up in the sky like, "Man, that's a bad outfit."
Yeah. Then he go, woo!
Woo! That's just the funniest scene to me.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
Oh man.
That's I love when they inject those little cameos of characters that aren't even really important characters, but they show the amazement that we are experiencing.
Right.
They're the everyday person on the street, and
The
that's
Jimmy
just
Olsens.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
great.
Oh yeah. Jimmy. It was another scene I liked. It was just to show the wholesomeness that you were talking about. He's flying around solving all these crimes, and this little girl has her cat up in the tree.
Yes.
So he stops. He gets the cat.
It's the original Save the Cat
And he gives
moment.
it to the girl.
Yep.
The girl runs inside. "Hey, mom, a guy flying. He gave me the cat from the tree." And all you heard was a, "Shut your lying ass up." I'm like, oh my God. So you need to go back and save her. She's getting abused.
And I love the part where he walks by the little half phone booth and is like, that was funny too.
You know, I think that the only thing that seemed kind of weird to me with, okay, like, I just want to make sure I got this right. Lex Luthor's plan was basically real estate to take over the world, right?
Well, real estate agents, I mean, they really are
That was his
evil,
plan,
right?
though, right?
No.
That was his plan, though, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he was going to be like the landlord of the world.
And Miss Tessmacher's like, "My mom lives there." He's like, I mean, that's that's messed
Are we
up.
talking about Trump? What's going on?
We're not. We don't discuss politics here.
Oh,
Hey, I'm just saying, real estate magnate tycoon.
I mean, supervillain.
Maybe I'm not saying.
you know what? Actually, he really, you know what? He really could be a supervillain. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we
about
should probably
that.
steer clear of that.
Okay,
Back to
so
Superman.
back to the real estate. So yeah, so I just thought it was just kind of like, that's a weird plan. You're gonna take over the world through real estate.
Yeah, it's a weird plan. It is, but I mean, I don't think it really matters because at the end of the day, Lex Luthor's whole purpose is to oppose Superman. That's
Another
all
question,
really
too.
there is.
Was he a billionaire in the movie?
I think he probably is because he's a super genius.
He lived in the sewer.
So
I mean,
he lived in a freaking sweet sewer.
he lived in
Yeah,
the sewer.
yeah. I mean, come on, that would be a several $1 million sewer pad.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, the way he
Manhattan
had
Avenue.
like the little what was that when the FBI was trying to follow him?
Door
The
pushes
little,
him
the
out of
little
the
button.
train.
Yeah.
That was an awesome layer. I would like that layer for myself.
Okay, but let's admit, whenever you're in the subway and you look down the tracks, that's the scene that comes to your head,
Yeah, it does.
right?
It
like,
does.
Like you're like, ooh, I would walk down there, but some metal door
Yeah.
would push me out in front of
Have
the
a
train.
Lex Luthor just.
Yeah. Oh, that was terrifying to me. That whole.
Yeah, but it was interesting. Like, I mean, it was like he had definitely had a secret lair. He had this very, I mean, yeah, real estate is his evil plan. Like rent control is the only thing, and Superman's the only thing standing
Yeah,
against
I was like,
him and world domination.
I was like, he's not gonna stop you from doing that. Just do it. I don't get that. But
Well, that was I guess one of my critiques of the movie, even as a child, is when you have someone like Superman, you want to see them fight someone who has powers,
right.
And they definitely remedied that in Superman 2. I mean,
Yes.
that was just amazing when the Phantom Zone
I
characters
mean,
show
yeah,
up.
but come on now. Lex Luthor's power is that he's a genius. That is his power.
Yeah, but if you're such a genius, you should create maybe a solar-powered guy with Lee press on fingernails to fight. Wait, no, that's a bad idea.
That
they
didn't work.
should
That
never
didn't
do
work.
that.
No,
They should never
no.
do that.
Quest for Peace, terrible movie. But I think that the one thing that I really enjoyed a lot about Superman, especially with Lex Luthor, was Otis. Otis
Sure.
was just that funny,
Sure.
lovable character. Like whatever you say, let's go.
Yeah,
And
the,
it's just,
the bungling henchman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Yes, sir, Mr. Luthor.
Yeah, it's just like, and it's like, hey, Otis, I don't think that's a good plan. I think Otis knew this too. It's like, I'll go along with it anyway.
And Mrs. Tessmacher.
Oh God, she was
I
hot.
love her.
She was hot.
Love
She was
her.
great. She was great.
She was hot.
And I just love how it's so interesting to me. It's like, I'm a genius. I'm a billionaire. I'm an evil genius billionaire. And I surround myself with people who are either idiots or talk back to me constantly.
Right.
And it's like, I think that
Yeah,
you
but you know what?
probably,
When
that
you're-
probably doesn't happen in real life. That's
but
how you
you're-
get to become an egomaniac.
If you're a super hot chick, you get to talk back to billionaires.
I
turns
guess
out.
you could,
Really?
Yeah, that's what I
especially
hear.
if you live in the sewer with them.
I mean, right? It's not like there's a big singles scene going on down there.
I don't know, but if you're a billionaire, don't you have lots of super hot chicks to choose
mean-
from?
I just saw that one.
I just know, look, I wouldn't talk back if I knew they could push me out in front of a subway.
Yeah,
Train.
there is that. But on the other hand, I think that there was a lesson in there, and that when you treat your hench people poorly, that can come back to bite you in the ass.
That's right.
I think another very iconic scene to me, which is really plays a lot into Superman's persona, the character, and everything else, and which was actually even brought up in the more recent films with Man of Steel, was when his father died, and he had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm. There was nothing he could do.
And the line, he was just like, all these powers, and I couldn't save them. And that's just like, it's crazy. It's like, and I hate to bring up Man of Steel because we're really trying to concentrate on this film right here, but it's like, one of the biggest things is, you're Jonathan and Martha Kent, and you're basically raising a god. Like, how do you do that? And it's just, and then for his persona to be like, I can fly, I'm invulnerable, I can do all this other stuff, but I couldn't stop a heart attack.
Right.
And I think that really played a part with his character, with him wanting to help the general, population as much as he can.
Well, it's, I think Ma and Pa Kent, I mean, they were great in this movie, and there's been other pretty good versions of them in other movies and TV shows. But what's clear is that they're teaching their son, ethics and morality.
Absolutely.
And that his powers only make it more important for him to be a good person and do the right thing. And so he was raised that way, and that was, innate to what his personality was. But it just kind of hammered home that when the way his father died was that he could not rely on his powers in any way to protect himself emotionally from the loss of someone.
Sure.
And so it makes it even more it's just one of those things. It's like if in real life it might harden you to become where you become. That's how you could become the
Right.
villain, like Magneto losing, his family and stuff.
Right.
It actually hardens them to not want to experience that sort of thing again. But for him, it was I think the turning point where he realized, like, I can't save everyone. There's things I can't do, but the things that I can do, I must do.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a
and
good
but you
point.
know, that reminds me that you're talking about Ma and Pa Kent and how important they are and how they raised Superman was. Did you read the Red Sun story in the
Yeah.
comic books? See, that was super interesting to me. Like, what would happen if he was raised totally differently, and what kind of a man would he become? So I think that the two of them are absolutely the most important influences to this character. And without them, you don't have the kind, gentle Superman. I think you could end up with an egomaniac.
Yeah.
I think, and just a little bit of, I think it's also to the point where I think he actually, every now and then, he gets a kick out of his powers.
Sure.
It was one
Who
scene.
wouldn't?
It was one scene where it's like early on. Excuse me, no, that's towards the middle of the film. He's in Metropolis. Him and Lois are walking down the street, and this guy jumps out, shoots a bullet. He catches it, falls to the ground, and everything else. And Lois is like, "What? Did you faint?" Whew, yeah, there's too much action going on. But then he looks at the bullet, he flies, throws it to the ground. He kind of smiles a little bit,
Right.
I think it's like little stuff like that. You can still see his humanity, which I think is so cool and so awesome with a character so powerful like that. You
Right.
know?
And I think it's also like why he has his secret ID is so that he can experience being treated as a normal person, because he knows that anytime someone sees him as Superman, they will not treat him as an average everyday person, and so he needs to experience the basically real life to
Right.
stay connected to
His humanity.
to his humanity. And it's just it is definitely a power fantasy to think about, oh, I wish I could do
Of
all these
course.
things, but it just goes to show that, like, the core of the person is more important than what you're able to do. It's what you're willing to do. And it's just a great movie. It was it had a lot of heart.
Well, one of the things, going back about the powers thing, it's like people always used to ask online, what is the one power you would want from Superman? 95% of the people always say the same thing. I want to be able to fly. And, and going back to what we talked about earlier with, You Will Believe a Man Will Fly with this movie, with what they did with Christopher Reeves, and I think they used some type of rail type thing, diggy or something like that. Now he said it was like really killing him too, because he would like really strain around his back and everything, because they would really like fly him around, like. And I think that's one of the other things too that helped lead to the success of the movie, where a lot of things were practical as far as effects like that,
Well, yeah, and then they have that whole romance going on too. So you have something for the girls that are watching as well. That scene where he's flying with her in the air and she's
Can you read my mind?
yeah, the "Can you read my
Can you read
mind"
my
stuff was, it's cheesy, yeah, it is. But if you're gonna make a movie for, that's wholesome family entertainment, you can't just have it be for the boys. You gotta have something for the girls in there too. And I think that was nice that they did that.
It was a little, they got a little risque every now and then. What color are my
with
panties?
Yeah, but that's as far as that ever got, right?
But also, I think, I know exactly what you're saying, but I think looking back through through context of how I think now is, I think that we definitely need representation of female and male heroes, but little boys like me can love Wonder Woman and
Absolutely.
see the action of that, and little girls can love Superman, and it doesn't have
Absolutely.
to be about the romance or the a lot of little boys and maybe some little girls where puberty was induced as soon as Linda Carter showed up on this
Yeah,
stage.
yeah, sure.
And I'm sure plenty of people had crushes on Christopher Reeves too. But it's an inspiring hero can inspire people in different ways, and it's that movie, I think, is probably the zenith of that sort of movie. It's sort of like it's an inspirational superhero movie.
Sure. And it kind of was really the leader of the pack, right? I mean, it's really the first major motion picture featuring a superhero.
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And I think
And now look, I mean, we've got, what, 6 of them coming out every year? We have so many coming out now that I haven't even seen all of
At
them.
least 12.
Yeah.
I think it was 12 this year alone.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, think about that. Without this film, we don't have any of those.
And what's the miracle of this movie was they got it right. They got the
Yes.
core of Superman right. Yeah, there's little things that we're like, you can't make the world spin
Sure,
backwards
but
and
The
turn back time.
casting was key.
The casting was great. The look was amazing.
Yes.
They understood that, like, we really can't improve upon this. We just need to get to the essence of the character and let it show.
Yes.
And I think, in the next Batman movies, the Tim Burton ones, like they reintroduced sort of the more serious side of Batman.
Sure.
But then they sort of went off the rails for a lot of movies. And now I think we're in the golden age of superhero movies where Superman taught us a lesson and taught executives a lesson that if you go to the source material, these characters have been around for decades. There's something right about them.
Absolutely.
Don't think you can fix things or make things better.
Modernize.
You can update,
Sure.
Tony Stark, he wasn't back in Vietnam. That makes sense.
And
But
the Wonder Woman TV series was set in the 70s and not in the 30s.
right. So we get all that, but Superman is like the template. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I definitely understand what you're talking
It's
about.
the template.
It's the prototype.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest things about the movie was, and think about it for a minute, they actually showed his origin story. Now think about every other single comic book movie after that. Did they show an origin story? And if they did,
Pretty much.
how many decades was that after that? Like, okay, let me see. If you think of, hate to go off topic for a minute, but Batman, Michael Keaton,
Sure.
they didn't really show too much of an origin
they
story.
covered it.
That was like 2-3 minutes.
Well, they showed
Yeah.
the impetus, but they never showed him becoming Batman.
right. But now
That's a long part of the
Exactly,
first movie.
yeah.
And that's
about 30 minutes.
it's a
Yeah.
huge chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 minutes, showing him as a teenager wanting to play football, but he can't because
Right.
his
Because it's
parents are
not
scared
fair.
he'll hurt somebody.
It's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair. Or he wants to go hang out with everybody, but he gets dogged out from his peers because Kent's weird, Kent's goofy, you know.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's going to that feeling that we all have of being the outsider and not being included, and anytime that you can touch that part of your audience, you're going to connect with them.
Well, let's talk about the top three, the Trinity, for a second. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Sure.
Superman, undocumented, illegal alien.
Yep.
Wonder Woman, not American, from another country, a woman who's trying to make
Raised
the
by
world
a
a better
single
place.
mother.
And then Batman, a disturbed billionaire.
Sure.
Now I don't want to talk about the election. Let's talk about comic books.
Hey, you forgot another part too. A billionaire that hangs around little kids.
Oh, okay, we won't go there.
So I'm just saying.
It's
I gotta train them. Sure you do, Bruce. So
I wonder.
He's my ward.
I wonder if that's why they changed Bruce's name in The Incredible Hulk, because Bruce was so iconic
as
to Batman.
Did they really call him Bruce like that? And I think they mostly called him Batman all the time on the show.
I don't know.
I need to go back and look at that.
But Superman has none of those real pathos like that. If Superman has the feeling different and feeling like an outsider, but it's always a very wholesome, not dark, and that's why I don't like when they make Superman dark.
I think that's been the big backlash with the newer movies.
Yeah, and I think the key is like you can put those characters in dark situations. But the character doesn't have to change.
Right.
The situation changes, and how they deal with it might be interesting. But Superman doesn't need to be emo Superman who's like,
Emo Superman.
Well, see, we're gonna have to all get together again and talk about Superman as a whole, because I have different views on that, because it's like you can try to be wholesome and good, But if the entire society around you is becoming so warped and disturbed, it's gonna affect you somehow.
But isn't that what makes him super?
Exactly.
Well, I'm not saying he's going around snapping people's neck. Oh, he did do that, didn't he?
Damn.
So a couple of little funny little behind the scenes things with the movie is.
Oh, I love behind the scenes
Okay, here we
stuff.
go.
Okay, and I probably don't know any of
Okay,
this.
here we
so
go. Here we go.
you're
Okay,
teaching me.
now, remember back when Clark Kent was a teenager and everything else, right? Now, that original actor, they hated his voice so much that they actually dubbed in Christopher Reeve's voice. So that's Christopher Reeves actually, speaking during that part, during those entire scenes.
I never even noticed that.
Yeah.
But, well, I mean, he was right at that age where his voice might have been cracking.
No, that guy was the same age as Christopher Reeves.
That's what I always thought.
Yeah, that guy was like about 25, 26.
Oh, I didn't
He
know
was the
that.
Ralph Macchio of the Superman
yeah.
movie.
So they just was like, you know what, we like your look, but Jesus, your voice. Hey, Christopher, you want an extra 20,000?
I wonder what he really sounded like. Was
I
he
don't know,
like,
but he's angry.
"Hi, Clark Kent," you know?
Kind of like David Prowse. He's like, I can do Darth Vader. No, you can't. No.
Maybe he had like a British accent or something weird.
So, and then I think another thing too was with Marlon Brando, who played Jor-El.
With the cue cards?
Yeah, he's infamous. He does not like to memorize anything at all. So
Maybe he couldn't. I mean, you know.
I don't know. Dude's a great actor.
Yeah.
But they would actually feed him lines off camera, have cue cards, everything else. And the director, Richard Donner, would have to talk to him every single day. Number one, he was only on set for about I think they had 24 hours with him.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah. He had to do all his stuff in
in 24
one day.
hours. So it had to go like this. And then Marlon be like, well, why am I wearing this? Can I just paint myself silver?
What's my motivation?
You know, and it's like, no. You know, we're gonna do it like this. How about if I just talk to an egg and the egg represents Krypton? It's like,
What if I was nude?
yeah, and that's what he would do. That's what he was infamous for doing, which is, it's funny. It's just weird.
And then the scene where he just screams Stella really loud as Krypton is blowing up. I wish that had made the cut. That's exactly it.
And then the thing is, you know, of course, they kept recycling his footage over and over again in the in part 2, and of course in what was that? Superman? Was it Returns?
I don't know. In his Fortress of Solitude, where he goes to be educated by his father's hologram.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting all the movies mixed up now.
I know. Whenever I'm taking lessons from my father's hologram.
My dead father. I just walk away. I'm tired of learning from you. Oh,
I'm not listening to you.
Hold on. Here we go. I got something else. Here we go. Okay, so when he goes to get his training at the Fortress of Solitude, right? How old was he?
Evidently, he was 25 through the whole thing.
No, I mean,
I
think he was like, was he 17, 18?
Something like that.
This is right after his father died.
Like a lot of time had passed.
And so the thing is, they showed, you know, him, I guess, going through the universe or something. And then he comes back and he's like 32.
He's like, boom.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a mean thing to do to Martha.
Yeah, she's like,
Like, oh yeah, sorry about your husband, bye.
Yeah,
that's exactly like when he shows back up. She's like, "Oh, Hassan,
where the hell you been?"
I'm like, she was
I'm on this farm by myself. I'm an old lady.
Yeah. Like,
But he gives her half his check, though.
Well, there you go.
He told Perry, hey, send half of my check to this place.
Superman is a messianistic figure. I think that's probably the ultimate genesis of that particular character was probably, you know, a biblical reference. But, you know, I mean, it's so much more fun than those original stories. Which, spoiler alert, don't end well.
I don't even know how to segue out of that one.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I gotta remember that one. Okay.
Well, I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't read it all yet.
It just came out a few centuries ago. All right, so you know, I think that basically, I think with Superman, we've basically all agreed that it's the prototype, it's the standard
Absolutely.
among superhero movies.
Yes.
And that actually it's probably even the standard for a lot of Hollywood filmmaking today. Like we discussed earlier, they shot part 1 and 2 at the same time.
Which is a brilliant way to do things.
Right.
It really is. It gives you so much more freedom. And, Peter Jackson did that with The Lord of the Rings, all
Right.
3 of them.
Right. And the thing is that, I guess the studio had to feel like, oh, I know we're doing good with this. Because that's a lot of money, especially during the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
To take that chance to make us,
Oh, yeah.
2 movies at once.
And then what if the first one was a stinker?
Exactly.
But I guess, you actually save money doing it that way.
You
You've
do,
got
but
all
you
the,
also
you've already
take,
got
but
all
you
the
take a chance,
actors.
though. You take a chance.
You are taking a chance, but not as, yeah, you're right. It is chancy.
Yeah.
Because if you were going to do a sequel later on, then if the first movie failed, you just wouldn't do it.
No.
I mean, but the first movie and the second movie feel like they're one movie together.
Oh, yeah.
You can
Yeah.
tell that there's synergy of being able to film it at the same time.
Richard Donner.
It starts out with them just saying, "Yo, Phantom Zone dudes, you're out of here," and that's not going to turn out well. They're going to come back.
Right.
And so,
You can't just put people in an album cover and send them away.
no, into outer space with them screaming. And how could we hear them scream? It is outer space, right? Oh well.
I don't know. Evidently that glass was not soundproof.
And listen, but what I did learn is if you put 2 people in a shaft of light with hula hoops going around them, they can't go anywhere. Stuck.
Yeah, I think we all learned that.
I learned if you walk real fast backwards, you can turn time around. I
Well-
learned that. I tried that. It
I'm going
didn't
to
work
try
for me.
that, but not right now.
No.
I'm kind of worried about the Fortress of Solitude and global warming.
It's going to be exposed.
How did everybody keep finding this fortress? I never got that either.
Well, now that we have satellites, how are they not finding it?
It's like the fortress of many unwelcome guests showing
Yeah,
up.
it's like everybody kept finding it. Like Lex found it.
Yeah.
The other ones found it. Well, that's a whole different topic, part 2, for Superman 2.
They were using Google Maps.
Well, I look forward to discussing the other Superman movies. That'll be fun for us too.
Oh yeah.
And I have really enjoyed this discussion a lot, you guys.
This has been great. So,
Yes.
Post Comics. I'm Durante,
I'm Chris.
and this is our guest, Dallas.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's great.
Oh, don't worry, you'll be
coming
back.
along.
You'll be
All
back.
right, hey.
You'll be.
This
Yeah, you
chair.
definitely got to come back and sit with us again.
This is my chair. Nobody can sit here.
Right on.
There you go. All right. See
That
you
chair
next
is
time.
retired.
Uh,
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
Bye.
don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the social media things.
Comments. There you
Right
go.
on.